Madam Chair, honourable members, the Eastern Partnership Summit in Vilnius is fast approaching. It promises to mark a momentous step forward in our political association and economic integration with several of our Eastern European neighbours. Clearly and wrongly, this is seen in some quarters as a threat. As a result, we have seen enormous pressure being brought to bear upon some of our partners. The European Union has always been perfectly clear about its policy towards our eastern neighbours. Our common interests dictate that we should work with our eastern neighbours to build a zone of prosperity and stability in our continent. Already the existing Partnership and Cooperation Agreement, signed in 1994, foresaw the development of a free trade area. Feasibility studies launched in 2004 led to the development of so-called deep and comprehensive free trade areas as an integral part of the new enhanced agreements, subsequently known as association agreements, proposed in 2006. The first DCFTA negotiations started with Ukraine in 2008, as soon as it had become a WTO member, the World Trade Organization. The Commission's communication of 2008 then laid the basis for the offer extended to our Eastern partners at the Prague summit, establishing the Eastern Partnership in 2009 and confirming our joint objective of political association and economic integration underpinned by those association agreements / deep and comprehensive free trade areas. From the beginning, the European Parliament has strongly supported this approach of transforming this part of Europe both politically and trade-wise. It is true that the Customs Union membership is not compatible with the DCFTA, which we have negotiated with Ukraine, the Republic of Moldova, Georgia, and Armenia. This is not because of some ideological differences. This is not about a clash of economic blocs or a zero-sum game. This is due to legal impossibilities. For instance, you cannot at the same time lower your custom tariffs as per the DCFTA and increase them as a result of the Customs Union membership. The new generation of association agreements will bring enormous transformative benefits through legal approximation, regulatory convergence, and market liberalisation. Independent studies indicate that a DCFTA will bring substantial benefits. Exports to the European Union could double over the time, leading to an increase in GDP of up to approximately 12%. But in order to implement these, our partners must enjoy full sovereignty over their own trade policies, which members of the Customs Union will not. It may certainly be possible for members of the Eastern Partnership to increase their cooperation with the Customs Union, perhaps as observers. And participation in a DCFTA is, of course, fully compatible, let me stress it, fully compatible with our partners' existing free trade agreements with other Commonwealth of Independent State organizations. Let me be clear. The development of the Euro-Asian Union project must respect our partners' sovereign decisions. Any threats from Russia linked to the possible signing of agreements with the European Union are unacceptable. This applies to all forms of pressure, including the possible misuse of energy pricing, artificial trade obstacles, such as import bans of dubious WTO compatibility and cumbersome customs procedures, military cooperation and security guarantees, and the instrumentalization of protracted conflicts. This is not how the international relations should function on our continent in the 21st century. Such action clearly breached the principle to which all European states have subscribed. In the Helsinki Principles of the OSCE, we have committed to respect each country's, and let me quote, right freely to define and conduct, as it wishes, its relations with other states in accordance with international law, end of quote. The European Union will support and stand by those who are subject to undue pressure. Let me emphasize that the association agreements/DCFTA are not conceived at Russia's expense. On the contrary, Russia will also benefit greatly from the integration of the Eastern Partnership countries into the wider European economy. Our vision is that these agreements should contribute in the long term to the eventual creation of a common economic space from Lisbon to Vladivostok, based on WTO rules. So we encourage our partners to deepen their ties with Russia, as we do ourselves, but in a way which is compatible with the association agreement and deep and comprehensive free trade areas obligations. The European Union is ready to work with its neighbours to find ways to promote greater regulatory convergence between the EU members and the customs union. The last things we want to see is a protectionist wall cutting our continent in two. In today's ever more competitive global economy, we cannot afford to waste our efforts on a regional, geopolitical rivalry. I thank you very much for your attention. And I know. They were giving me more time. I mean, to Madam President, honourable members. If I may, 5 remarks in reacting to this very interesting discussion. First, some of you call on me to be more robust in promoting strategic games. My answer is no. I will not do it. There were others who call on me to promote more robustly the values. Yes, that's the business I'm in, to promote the values in the Eastern Partnership. I have problems to participate in these zero-sum games, as I'm big believers in the win-win approach, particularly when dealing with such an important, privileged and strategic partner as Russia is. And I'm definitely not in the business of creating the new walls, just to the contrary. Transformation. This is the rule of the game. And the association agreement, including this deep and comprehensive free trade area, is the most powerful instrument of that transformation. That's why the Vilnius summit and the preparations for eventual signing and initialing these agreements are so important. The rule of the game is not to lower the bars. The rule of the game is not to forget about conditionality. The rule of the game is to offer a more strategic engagement with our partners. My second remark is we have to do a better job in communicating with Russian friends. Make it this point again and again. Eastern Partnership is not at your expense. It is not against you. It is not against your interests. We have apparently also better to communicate on the relationship between the association agreement and the customs union. I have noticed the media reporting the Russian Prime Minister this week that there is a lack of compatibility between those two concepts. We raised the same issue in front of him and the rest of his government in February, where the college was in Moscow, for a regular exchange of the views. We have raised this issue even before February this year. We are raising these issues also in the framework of the Information and Coordination Group, where the Russian Federation has an important place. And each and every time we explain why it is not the case, making point that it is not about the political game, that it is about this very pragmatic and practical issue: to what extent our partners has a sovereign right or sovereignty about its external trade policy. But we did not stop there. We always added that we are the first one to be interested in the traditional ties and cooperation between our partners and Russia. And we always added that we stand ready to help our partners, and eventually also Moscow, to find the policies of the Customs Union or Euro-Asian Union the partners could align with, on the understanding that they will not be in contradiction to the obligations stemming from the association agreement and DCFTA. We need to do a better job to make these points clear to our Russian friends. Point number 3. I understand that Russia sees the extension of European Union standards and norms as potentially problematic issue, because those of the Customs Union are currently not always identical with them. However, we are already now actively cooperating with Russia on alignment of many norms and standards. This is a key element of the European Union-Russia Partnership for Modernization. And these standards are also increasingly adopted by the Customs Union. Let me stress that European Union norms are often adopted internationally and are, of course, fully compatible with WTO rules. So the European Union is actually helping all our partners, including Russia, to modernize and open up to globalization. And likewise, the new agreement we have been negotiating to replace the European Union-Russia Partnership and Cooperation Agreement should include provisions for greater convergence of the regulatory framework between the European Union and Russia, and thereby help to generate stability and predictability for both Russian and European Union companies. Talking about companies, talking about trade, talking about solidarity and unity, many of you refer to. Let me, as a remark number 4, say the following. We took note of Russian ban against Moldovan agriculture products. We do not know yet full details for such a decision, but at a first glance we are not aware of food safety reasons which would justify this. The European Union's own food safety authorities did not establish any health or hygiene problems with imports from Moldova, and it continues to import wine and other agricultural products. Now let me also add that today, together with my colleague in the college, the Commissioner responsible for agriculture, Commissioner Cholos, we have been in a close contact. And as a result, we intend to look into the possibility of being able to further increase the wine quota for Moldovan exports to the European Union. I'm also intending to send short-term expertise to Moldova to help overcome some of the remaining barriers that their export in other sectors, such as poultry, face. And these signs of solidarity, of course, are applicable also to our partners, which might become a subject of this undue pressure. Now let me, honourable members, make the following concluding remarks. When we set out to build the Eastern Partnership at Prague in 2009, the idea of the Euro-Asian Union project had yet to get off the ground. So it is the Russian decision to build the customs union and the Euro-Asian Union that created a situation where our European partners are now confronted with a choice between the two projects for regional economic integration. And let me make it clear that it is inconceivable that our partners should become victims of this incompatibility. It is inconceivable that through a decision made freely, our partners should be punished and their trading relationship with customs union members threatened to be placed under far worse conditions than our own arrangements. And one final thought. We stand by on our side to do all we can to avoid this and work with our neighbours to find ways of maximising the compatibility between the European Union and Eurasian structures in a way that can facilitate trade and economic integration to the benefit of our neighbours, but also to the benefit of the neighbour of our neighbours. Thank you very much.